Guys, it's college football talk time here. We're going to talk about futures here, national championships, Heisman favorites for the future bets that maybe you want to dabble a few bucks on. On top of that, we're going to talk some conference division winners. I don't know. The way it is today, it seems like division. So we're going to talk a little bit of futures bets here today for your college football slate. But stay tuned here and let's get into it. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to Lock It In. On the Record Sports again. We're back at it, back-to-back days. If you guys missed it yesterday, we did our first mock draft, fantasy football mock draft. We did 12-man, 10 rounds, full PPR, no defense, no kickers, and it showed. It showed for a lot of us that it was still early on seeing some players. So, but make sure you guys check out that episode as well. Well, my name is Tanner Dawson. Joined with me, of course, is Scott Cobb and Alan Morales. Guys, welcome in to happy first round of college football talk as we get week zero. Week zero will be here before we know it.
I took James Madison in every conference, Tanner. James Madison across the board. I don't care if they don't play.
They're going to disappoint you, and they're going to make you happy all at the same time.
Probably. Probably.
Damn James Madison. I tell you.
I know. I can't wait for college football to start. It's best time of the year.
I got my basement ready to go. I got a TV above my main TV. And then in the garage, I have a little half spot I'm working on right now. I'm still working on that part of that, but I'm ready to go. I'll be ready to go come week zero, I think, for what I want to do. So,
yep. Bill Belichick's opening game in North Carolina. I'll be watching intently.
I'm sure you will.
Oh, I will.
Can't get here fast enough.
No,
right?
It's great.
Yeah, I'm ready to bet something other than baseball and trying to figure out WNBA. Tired of it already.
I'll say this. I know we're not talking matchups today, but I'm kind of intrigued to see what happens when Michigan comes to town week 2.
Well, we'll see when that week comes around, right? I think they stink.
Hey, by the way, Alan and Tanner, I updated the Hawaii Network TV.
Oh, you did?
It's got all kinds of reads and stuff around it. So me and Keith were all set to go.
So you're set for those 1 a.m.
Gonna have the James Madison TV right next to it.
That's the next one. Yep, that's going in soon.
You got to lead in some way, right? You got to get to 1 a.m. Eastern somehow. So that's the only way to do it. But
that's right.
All right, guys, we're going to talk a little bit of futures bets here. I'm using DraftKings odds for the futures here, but we're going to kind of see what we want to dabble a little bit of money on coming up for this college football season. It's something we haven't really done as a group, so this is very fun to do. But I'm looking forward to this one. I really am. After last year, the success I had there, I know Scott has success. Alan, I think you were pretty spot on a lot of picks too. I think we're gonna look here at the futures and see if we can just get a little ahead of some things here. Now, today we are gonna do national championship futures. We're gonna get this out of the way here. We're gonna do some Heisman futures, get that out of the way as well. Right, first episode. And then we're going to hit the main conferences, your SEC, your Big 10, your Big 12. We're going to talk about those predictions for those winners as well. And then come next week, we'll be able to dabble in a little bit to those other teams, right? To those other teams, the other teams that we actually enjoy talking about and our predictions with it also. But nonetheless, guys, let's get into it here. It's time to talk some national championships right off the bat. Let's break it down here. I mean, we're looking at the current odds favorites are Ohio State at plus 500, Texas at plus 550, Georgia 700, Penn State 750, and Clemson 1,000. For those looking for the Bamas, plus 1,200, Notre Dame's plus 1,200, LSU's plus 1,800, Michigan's plus 2,500. I know Alan's looking for his Oklahoma Sooners plus 7,000. And then, of course, I'll be looking for my Jayhawks at plus 2,500. No, 25,000 for that one. And it's BCU in this one. There they are. Plus 100,000, Scott, for
I got
BCU.
it. That's mine.
Boom. Got it. So, but hey, guys, let's talk a little bit here about what's going down, kind of who we want to dabble some money on, because as we know, college football, it can be chaotic, really chaotic during the season, and these odds may not stick. And of course, even a team like maybe an A&M, a Michigan, an Ole Miss, Tennessee, Auburn. I mean, we've seen things come alive. Well, what's our thoughts here, Alan? We'll start with you, man. What's your national championship odds here? What futures bets are you looking to make here for the national championships?
This is kind of tough because you could literally throw any of these teams out there and it'd be a good pick, honestly. But I think the first team I'm looking at is Clemson. I think they're going to have a really good 2025. I think Cade Klubnik has showed that he can perform at a high level. I think they got a lot of good pieces coming in, especially on defense. They're definitely the favorite to win the ACC this year. I think Klubnik's up there in Heisman as well, but I think Clemson's. They kind of left last year with a bad taste in their mouth. Obviously, the loss to South Carolina and, of course, losing to Texas in the semifinal.
Right.
Quarterfinal, whatever it was. But I think they're going to be more prepared this year, and we'll kind of see a little bit of the Clemson of old in 2025. And then the other team I got is Ohio State. I mean, we haven't seen a back-to-back. I mean, other than Georgia, we really haven't seen back-to-back champions all that often in college football lately. But I think Ohio State is still the team to beat, regardless of what people may think. I think Ohio State is. I know people are going to get on me for not picking Texas because I'm an Oklahoma fan, but I got to see it first from Texas. I really do, because anytime I've seen Texas get the hype, get the praise, Tanner, you know this. You've seen them the last however many years. Anytime Texas has gotten hype, they've always underperformed. So until I see it, I can't pick Texas.
Yeah, I think. I mean, if we look here, you talked about Clemson here. I mean, you're already talking about Cade Klubnik, the Heisman. I mean, he's already in conversation on Heisman for the quarterback there. They're returning 80% of last year's roster. Like, Clemson has it down. Like, they have kind of a recipe to be able to contend there for that title. I like that too, especially at plus 1,000. I like that. I like dropping a little bit of money on that one there. I mean, it's potential. You never know, right? In college football there for that here. And then, I mean, ACC, I feel like with all the guys that went to the draft, SMU got weaker in a way too. I mean, some of the big contenders that hurt Clemson last year, still got in the playoffs with the SMU win. Like, I feel like he got a little weaker conference. So, but I mean, Scott, what are you thinking here?
So, Ohio State won it last year. They lost Chip Kelly, their offensive coordinator. They lost their whole running back room, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Henderson's in New England. Judkins is in Cleveland. So, I don't want to gravitate toward them because I just think they lost a lot to replace it. Will they win the Big Ten? Probably. No, I don't think so, because the team I have is probably going to win.
Okay.
So Clemson, yes, but the conference might get them in the playoffs in terms of strength. I went with Penn State at plus 750. Penn State returns almost everybody. I know James Franklin's the coach. I know the big game thing, but I just think there's so much talent at Penn State, and they got a sniff of the playoff last year. And I just think that Drew Aller came back specifically to get in the playoff and to play for a national championship. So I think Penn State defensively and offensively is going to be very good this year. And I think in the Big Ten, that's going to be enough to have a chance to win it. And I think they can make a deep run. I'm always on Notre Dame, but I just don't see it this year because look, their schedule's not exactly a strong suit of theirs. Again, I put a lot of stock into a schedule, and they didn't really play anybody last year. And yes, they got to the national championship game. Yes, they had a chance, but Ohio State was just too good. So I think Penn State is one of those teams that not a lot of people are talking about, and they're sneaking up the betting board, and they're plus 750 now. And I would take it right now because if it goes, it's going to go higher than that. It's going to be like 3-1, 2-1, and then you're going to lose out on some money. So I like Penn State a lot this year. Clemson's going to win the ACC, I think. Florida State will be much improved. They won't make the playoff. I just see Penn State playing in the national championship game and winning it. So that's where I'm going.
It's not. I mean, again, returning roster, right? Five linemen returning. You got a couple of nice little running backs to go with Drew Aller there.
Yep.
Defensively, returning All-Americans as well. You also added Jim Knowles from the Ohio State team as well. Yep. DC there. You're the Big Ten's number 2 preseason team. Like I can go down all the way there. But like, yeah, I could see why they're plus 750, plus 850 on some books there. Mm-hmm. So, I don't mind the Penn State pick. I really don't. I think,
shop around, as we say all the time, shop around because you can get them at 850. There's 700 out there on FanDuel, I think, 750 on DraftKings. So shop around, find the best deal you can on it, on anything you pick. So,
right, yeah, I believe that too. I believe you need to shop around for these futures bets because you can get a pretty good price on some of these books here. I was kind of looking here down the list of the futures as well, like Miami being so high. It just seems kind of wild after, even with Cam Ward last year, what they couldn't do in the end, I don't know why they're so high. I mean, they're plus 4,000, but they're still top, top 12 almost, top 15. So it seems kind of wild to me. I don't know, man. There's some good ones here. A lot of small schools, of course, being not in that top list here. Here's an interesting one too. Nebraska, being the plus 15,000 right now, and they're right in the middle of the pack there. They're not far off from Arizona State, Indiana. Indiana, by the way, being a team that we saw was good, but when they had to play somebody, it kind of came out, right? It kind of came out. So I would definitely avoid these guys. I think they had some nice little momentum there into play here. I mean, if I had to throw out a pick, it probably is going to be your Georgia and your Ohio State picks. Really, in the end, like these guys are it, right? Ryan Day and his team, they go out and they get guys that are experienced, that are very talented, and that can, take care of the roster as it is. So I'm not concerned there. And then, of course, Georgia, Stockton takes over. But, where's the defense at? Where's the rest of the offense? That's going to be the big thing here. Right now, I'd probably throw money on Georgia. I'd wait for Ohio State to kind of drop a little bit more. Maybe we check it out week 5, week 6 to see where their futures bet is on this status here. Texas, again, I'm like Alan. I'm not bought into it yet. I want to see where this team is here.
Texas lost a lot of players in the draft too.
They did. But they got Arch Manning, man. They got Arch Manning. Come on.
That's my bone of contention with them. How do we know Arch Manning's going to be good? How do we know?
We don't.
No.
And
So
here's the thing too with Texas is that you look at their schedule last year, they had the softer side of the SEC other than Georgia. You give them Oklahoma's schedule, they're probably like an 8-4 team. And then, either barely making playoff or what have you. So, I mean, because we saw them last year against tough competition. They lost to Georgia 3 times. And then, of course, Ohio State, took advantage of them towards the end of that game. And even Arizona State and Clemson gave them a hard-fought game. So when they played against good teams, they struggled a little bit.
You see who Texas? You see who Texas has opening week at Ohio State. That's going to tell you right there.
You're going to see exactly where they're at that point.
Yep.
I mean, really, and it's week, right? It's one of the first games. Okay,
August 30th.
Things can change later on, but you're going to see where that team really states at where they're at. So, for that, I mean, according to PFSN here, some of the toughest schedules. Some of these guys, maybe you don't drop any money on. Unfortunately, number one being Allen's Oklahoma Sooners. They have Bama, Michigan, Auburn, Texas, LSU. Who else you guys? You guys have like 5 or 6 or 7.
South Carolina, Tennessee.
Yeah, Tennessee.
It's ridiculous.
I mean, you got a really, really tough schedule. So maybe you don't throw on those odds of plus 7,000 for Oklahoma, because that's a gauntlet. That's a gauntlet. If they make it,
I don't think they're going to get through it to be a playoff team, but I don't think that they're going to be as bad as they were last year. I think the improved offense, the guys coming in, John Mateer is going to be a dark horse for the Heisman, I think, but the schedule's just going to be a little bit too much for them at the end of the day. I do think that they've always had Alabama's number, so I think they could get past them. Missouri's not going to be as good as they were last year, so that could be another one. But you still have LSU. You still have LSU at the end of the year, who's still going to be a contender. You still have Texas, of course. We'll see how good they are. South Carolina, I think, is going to be the dark horse of the SEC this year. Tennessee's always had a solid team, so it's going to be tough. It's going to be very tough.
Number 2 as well on this list here is the Gators. And the Gators currently are sitting at plus 4,000. They have a little out of conference slate is Arizona State, Colorado, and Notre Dame. Then you add the whole SEC gauntlet with it. It's probably a team to not drop any money down on either. For that one, Arkansas being number 3 here, with the same thing with the SEC and Notre Dame being in play. The Wisconsin Badgers, they're marked actually the number 1 toughest. And Mississippi State as well, number 4 for that one. I mean, you got Wisconsin has to open up with Michigan, Oregon, and Bama. Holy cow.
They might win one. I don't like Bama at all this year. I just there's something about them.
I think they're going to be there, right, for most of the year. I think they're going to get their win, but they have a tough schedule too for them.
Yeah, I mean, the SEC is always tough, and I think a lot of their games, a lot of their big games, I think they're going on the road, which is not you don't want to go to Georgia. You don't want to go to Ole Miss. You don't want to go to those places. And I think Bama's, if I'm not mistaken, might be going to those places this year. And that's not great. So,
hey, that's going to be a thing there, I mean, Bama traveling, having to play on the road. I mean, it leads for fun games for us, but what does that do from a betting perspective? That's a whole different deal here. Another one we can look at here is I think Oregon. I think Oregon's kind of getting lost in the deck here.
Yeah.
I mean, they got a tough schedule as well. With that, I mean, Penn State. Like you just talked about Wisconsin being one of the openers as well. Oklahoma State.
Don't they have to travel to Ohio State?
Yes.
Ohio State came to them last year.
No Ohio State games this year.
No Ohio State game. That's
Ohio State or Michigan.
That's
so. Here's who all Alabama has to go to this year as far as away games. They go to Florida State opening week. They got 2 home games after that, a week off, and then at Georgia, at Missouri, at South Carolina, and at Auburn.
4 straight away games. That's brutal. That is brutal.
We're going to see where that team is quickly.
Across the country, too. It's not like they're going next state over. They're going across the country.
It's not 4 in a row because first 3 weeks is at Florida State, UL Monroe, and Wisconsin. Both those games are at home. And then their SEC schedule starts with at Georgia, Vanderbilt at home, at Missouri, Tennessee at home, at South Carolina, They're off a week, and then have LSU, Oklahoma at home. Their SEC cupcake game, Eastern Illinois, late in the season.
Oh, Eastern Illinois this year. Okay.
And then at Auburn for the Iron Bowl.
Yeah. I mean, you got to go across the country on almost every road game, and that's not easy. You're asking a lot. They had a good schedule last year. This year they don't have such a favorable schedule where they have to get on a plane every other week basically and go to the East Coast, Southern East Coast, and play, which is tough.
All right.
The other team, the dark horse team for national championship that I'm on, that I've heard a lot of people talk about, is LSU. They could be better this year. I have a sneaking suspicion LSU is going to make the playoffs this year. I think they're flying way under the radar right now. So watch
plus
LSU.
1,800, man.
Yeah.
Or 1,800. Yeah.
Yeah. Put a little, $5, $10 bet, whatever you do, and just take a flyer on LSU, because if they start off 5-0, 6-0, they're going to shoot right up the board. So
it's true. It's true. They will. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. It's kind of what we got here for that here. I mean, if you need a little recap here, I threw down a bit. We talked about LSU just now, but I mean, I threw down a little money on Penn State, Clemson, Oregon, and Georgia on top of that with LSU as well. I think those are some guys there that we get potential as we get closer. And of course, odds change, right? As we go through maybe the first 5 weeks, maybe we add a couple more teams into our futures for national contenders. So it's so much fun. So much fun to talk about this.
It is. And
So
even
it's
look
about
at it too when it first comes out. It's like can't get here soon enough. So
right. All right. Now let's talk. This is something I struggle on from a road. That's why I'm trying to get better about this. Is the player side of things. Heisman favorites. Heisman favorites, guys. And there's some guys out there. Arch Manning, of course, is already in the conversation. We already talked about Klubnik from Clemson. Drew Aller, Penn State being there. You talked about LSU, right? Nussmeier in that range. Jeremiah Smith in Oklahoma's quarterback that he Alan just said was a kind of a sneaky guy being that way there. What's our favorites, guys? What's our favorites here as we look here? I just clicked away from my odds, of course, for it, because why would I? Players' favorite. Nope. Futures awards. There we go. Finally. Yeah, right now, Arch Manning at plus 650. Nussmeier with LSU at plus 850. Klubnik at plus 950. Jeremiah Smith plus 1,100. Drew Aller at plus 1,600. If we kind of go down the way, Julian Sayin from Ohio State plus 1,600. John Mateer from Oklahoma plus 2,500. I like to highlight our names as well while we're at it. If I had to look here, I'm trying to see Jalen Daniels is plus 8,000. And is there our BCU guy in here? Let's see. I don't see a BCU guy there, Scott.
No,
man.
Sorry, don't worry. BC will be a 500 team at best. So, I mean, I can't bet on it, obviously.
I know you can, but I can.
Yeah, I know you can.
Carson Beck plus 3,000. Kevin Jennings plus 4,500.
Yeah, there's two guys that stick out for me on this list. If I believe in Penn State going to the national championship game or deep in the playoffs, Drew Aller is going to have a huge year for them.
Yeah.
So at plus 1,600, I put in two bets. He's one, and the other one is Nussmeier of LSU. If they make a deep playoff run too, and Brian Kelly's been known to throw the ball a lot, see Jaden Daniels from 2 years ago, I like Nussmeier at plus 800. I put a little bit more money on Aller because it's better long shot odds. Obviously, you'll make more money on your bet.
Yeah.
But I think Penn State LSU could make deep playoff runs. And if that's the case, those two guys are going to have to step up and be major reasons why they make deep playoff runs. So I went with those two guys. I know the quarterbacks. It's usually a quarterback award. It's like the MVP in the NFL. It's usually a quarterback award. So Nussmeier and Aller are my two guys that I'm gonna hitch my wagons to.
Okay. What do
And
you
if
got?
he had on a pick, if I had to pick one, it'd be Aller. So,
Aller, yeah. I like Aller.
Yep.
So my first one's Jeremiah Smith, because I think he's going to be the focal point of Ohio State's offense moving forward.
Plus 1100.
I think he's going to have a huge year. If there's any player other than a quarterback that has a chance to win it, I think it's going to be Jeremiah Smith. He's just that talented. He's just that special. Phenomenal at the point of attack. Great route runner. Can make all the catches. High points to catch all the time. Makes those big plays whenever you need him to. And he's an X factor. He's a game changer. He's an X factor, and that's what you want from your star wide receiver. So I think that's definitely a potential there. And I'm going to go kind of a dark horse pick here. I'm going to go Lenore Sellers from South Carolina.
Plus 1600 as well. Yeah.
Quietly had a great year for South Carolina last year for a team that, all intents and purposes, if you ask anybody in the SEC, they should have been in the playoff. I think if there was one team that got left out that should have been in, it should have been South Carolina, because they had some big wins. They did beat Clemson at the end of the year. You're 1 yard away, 1 point away from knocking off Alabama, giving them their fourth loss. I think South Carolina can quietly have a great year this year and maybe even contend for an SEC championship. And if they do that, it's going to be because of their quarterback. So I really like South Carolina this year.
No, I like what you guys threw out there. Aller, Nussmeier, Smith, Sellers. I want to add in Dante Moore, because I believe that you need to have a winning team to win this Heisman. Unfortunately, last year we got the overhypeness of the Heisman. That was definitely overhyped, but whatever, it happens. It's we see it all the time. Can't have too many winners there. So I like Dante Moore. I also want to throw out just a couple bucks, right? If we're gonna throw out a couple bucks here, I do want to throw out my guy Kevin Jennings, SMU. If anybody's gonna have to lead a team, I know they went out and got some guys. They lost a lot of guys, but they got out some guys. It's a guy up plus 4,500. I wouldn't mind dropping a couple bucks on just to, something happens there. And I think we definitely can't forget about Klubnik, right? Clemson.
Right.
If you're going to contend, you're going to have to perform, and to perform, you need to be up there. So I think from a Heisman favorite there, that's kind of where I'm at. So a little recap here: Drew Aller, Nussmeier, Jeremiah Smith, Sellers, Dante Moore, Kevin Jennings is what my little outside reach there, and then Kate Klubnik in that. It is interesting, though. I do look at here when I'm looking through the odds here. We do have a couple teams with a couple guys right next to each other. We got, of course, Bama with Ryan Williams and Ty Simpson, plus 3,500 for Ryan, Ty with plus 4,000. We also look at Notre Dame, both CJ Carr and Jeremiah Love at plus 4,000, literally right next to each other.
Yeah.
Which I thought was kind of interesting too. From a who's the guy there. We can say the same thing here with Jeremiah Smith and Julian Sand. Plus 1,100 for Jeremiah Smith that we just talked about, and Julian Sand there plus 1,600. So just a couple guys maybe you watch for on those teams, and maybe after a few weeks here get a little better gauge on what we're thinking. So but Heisman's always, I feel like, always tough.
It is. You never get the favorite until about week 5 or 6. Then you start to dial in on a couple of guys. So that's what I think is going to happen again this year.
Right. So that's fun there. But yeah. So those are your SEC bets there. I'm gonna pop in here. Futures winning conference. I don't care about winning conference right now. conference winner. That's what I want. But yeah, we're going to talk. It's time to switch up here now. It's time to talk about conference champs. Now, the 3 conferences, like I said, beginning of the show here, we're going to talk SEC. We're going to talk some Big 10 and Big 12 teams. And we're going to do our best to give you why these teams are in contention to win these conferences. And I'm pretty excited here to be able to start breaking down little divisions here, because these are tough ones. These are the tough ones. These are the teams generally when they start playing in conference. I don't bet these guys. These aren't guys I'm playing some money on because it's just tougher competition. You just don't know. It has to be a pretty sweet edge there to be able to see it. So let's start here at the top here. Start the SEC, guys. Let's get it all out of the way here. If we look at the SEC right now, I just had it up. There it is. SEC. So currently favorite is Texas at plus 260, Georgia plus 340, Bama plus 390, LSU 800, and A&M rounding out the top 5 at plus 1500, along with Ole Miss there. So what's our early thoughts here? SEC potential futures bet. Who are we looking to drop a couple bucks on?
As Alan said before, I can't bet Texas. Sock and Manning combination have to win me over. So can't bet Texas. Georgia's a mystery to me. They're usually pretty good. I just don't know what them. I went with LSU plus 800. I think LSU is the flying under the radar team. I think you got the coach in Brian Kelly. You got the quarterback in Nussmeier, who has a year of experience, and he's in the Heisman conversation, obviously. I think he's going to have a great year. I just like LSU this year. For whatever reason, I just think they're the team under the radar that can give everybody problems. And I think defensively they're going to be much, much better than they've been in the last 2 years. So I like LSU a lot. I think they'll be in the mix, if not win the SEC at plus 800. Why not? Why not? Nobody behind them. Ole Miss is going to be down from last year. They were good last year. Texas A&M, I just don't buy them.
It's a lot of question marks still, I feel.
Yeah. So the team that has the least question marks for me is LSU. So that's where I went.
Okay.
Well,
Alan,
Scott, based on everything you just said about, all these teams, how much, the questions that they all have, you mentioned, Texas, Georgia, Alabama, all of these teams, Ole Miss, they're probably going to have down years compared to last year, which is why I'm going with South Carolina.
Ooh.
Because South Carolina, you remember last year they finished the year strong. Last year, again, almost made the playoff. I think they're returning a lot of their team from last year. They're one of the few SEC teams that has a lot of returning players this year. And I think that they're going to be a lot better this year, if you ask me. I do like the LSU pick. I think this is going to be a year where we might not see Georgia or Alabama in the championship game for once. So I really like that South Carolina. I really like South Carolina this year. So I will go South Carolina.
Okay. I mean, for me, I know it's kind of the lame pick, but I'm thinking Georgia here. I'm leaning towards Georgia. If I had to pick somebody outside of Georgia, it'd probably be Ole Miss. Ole Miss doesn't really have much to begin with in the non-con schedule, so they can still be ahead and get ahead of some of these guys that do have the tougher non-con and be able to try to figure out their roster a little quicker without having that pressure. So I kind of like Ole Miss in that one. I looking here too down the way, just towards the bottom half, like Oklahoma's plus 3,000, Missouri's plus 5,000, Arkansas plus 15,000, Vandy's plus 20, Kentucky plus 25,000, Mississippi State. Apparently, they're supposed to be pretty awful. That's 50,000.
Yeah, the Bulldogs are terrible. They're definitely the worst in the conference.
Holy cow, 50,000 plus 50,000. That's
like they're the new Vanderbilt. They're the new Vanderbilt right now. They're the laughing stock of the conference.
That's rough. So, but yeah, that's what I got. I got Georgia. So right now, if you're looking here at futures bets and wanting to try to find some odds here, Georgia plus 340, LSU plus 800, and then South Carolina plus 2,500. So go grab it while you can here.
That Ole Miss bet has wings because the only one road game that they play against a tough opponent is at Georgia. LSU goes there. South Carolina goes there. So Oklahoma too might be a tough road test for them. But other than that, Georgia and Oklahoma, it really is not a tough road game.
And I think Lane Kiffin's getting to that time where it's get off the pot or what? Like what are you gonna freaking do?
Yeah.
So I don't mind it. I don't mind that Ole Miss pick at all. Actually,
no, I don't. I might put a little money on Ole Miss.
Might as well plus 1,500. So
yeah.
Next up here, we'll pop over to the Big Ten. Big Ten time. Let me find it here. Big Ten right now. Favorites are Ohio State plus 195, Penn State plus 250, Oregon 300, Michigan 850, and USC at 2,500. Those are your top 5 favorites. If you're looking at teams last year that were competing around this time, Indiana 3,500. We'll go down the way. Wisconsin plus 20,000 this year. That's really your biggest ones there. I mean, Scott, we'll go with you again here. Big Ten Conference, man. Anybody gonna upset the Ohio State fan base?
I like Penn State. I just think that if Penn State's going to be my national championship winner, they're going to probably have to win the Big Ten or be in contention to win it. I can't get past the top 3 or 4 in terms of winning this conference. No. So I think once you get past Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan, I can't go further than that. So I think Ohio State's going to have a little bit of a down tick here. I think they lost some talent. I think they got their national championship last year. So I think that's going to work against them. And I just think Penn State was so close last year. I think they could taste it. And I think their talent on the field is back. And I like them a lot this year. So I would go with Penn State plus 250 to win the Big Ten.
Like it. Alan, what are we thinking, man?
I'm going Ohio State. I know that's the unpopular thing, but let's be honest. The Big Ten is basically Ohio State and then see what else is there. I mean, yes, Penn State is going to be a contender this year, but we've seen the knack on James Franklin is he can't win big games in big moments. So until that happens, you really, if you're trying to play it safe, the safe pick is Ohio State in regards. I don't think Michigan's going to be as good as they were last year. They might have a down year. If I had to be honest, though, if there's a dark horse outsider's chance, I kind of like Nebraska because really their only tough game on their tough game is on their schedule is that they have to go to Penn State late in the season. They do have Michigan, but they got Michigan at home, and I think they have a chance to upset Michigan in that game. So we could see Nebraska finally make a run a little bit this year.
Come alive after, 30 years, it feels like?
I really think Matt Rule's done a great job in trying to rebuild that program. So, and that you don't have Ohio State, you don't have Oregon, you don't have, again, the only tough matchup you have in conference this year is at Penn State. And every other tough matchup you really got is at home. So
plus 4,000 for Nebraska. Plus 4,000.
So if there's a team with an outsider's chance, I would pick Nebraska.
Yeah, I'm not quite going the Ohio State route. I think they probably will win it, but it's 195. It's not worth betting for me. But I am going the Oregon route. I do believe if anybody is going to contend outside of Ohio State, Penn State, it's going to be Oregon. So I like Oregon 300 there. That's going to be my Big Ten title preview there. I think if anybody else there, I'm for it. I like the Nebraska pick because last year, didn't they lose a bunch of one-score games again? I feel like it's two or 3 years in a row now for that team. And the Iowa just switched coaches, I believe, right? Didn't they just switch head coaches?
I was not known for their offense either.
Yeah. Yeah.
They switched their offense coordinator. Then they switched. I don't think did they get rid of Ferenc? Maybe they did. They got rid of the Sun though. The
Yeah, they got rid of the Sun at least. They did something at least. So
yeah,
we'll have to see how that shakes out after the first few weeks there. All right, our final one here is of course the Big 12. Because why not? All right, now K-State and Arizona State favored at plus 550 each. Utah plus 600, Tech plus 650, and Baylor at plus 700. Guys, what are we thinking here as we look at this conference? It was kind of all over the place last year, with BYU all of a sudden coming alive there, and kind of going down towards the end. So, what are we thinking?
Utah, I'm out on Utah. We always hear they're going to be good. They're going to win the conference. They never do. I'm out on Utah. I went to Arizona State. I think the coach came in, did a phenomenal job. Nobody talked about them last year. I think, to me, that resonates in my mind a lot, is a coach that comes in, puts a stamp on the program, knows what he wants, gets what he wants, and then he goes out and he wins. So Arizona State made the playoff last year. I think they're going to make it again this year, just because they're winning the conference. So I went with Arizona State plus 550. I know it's one of the favorites, but I went there. I did throw a little bit money on your Kansas. I just think there's something about them. Good coaching. Again,
great
coaching.
Recruiting class this year too.
Great recruiting class.
10
I think
in top 5.
The talent on the field is going to be able to withstand and compete in that conference. Plus, Colorado's dropped off. They lost everybody. They're not going to be good at all. So I think Arizona State and Kansas could be competing for this conference. I don't believe in Utah. I don't believe in the other teams that the people are talking about.
I think K-State will be there too. I think
K-State is always there. They'll be there again this year. But I think Arizona State's going to win the conference, Big 12.
Okay. Alan, what are you thinking, man?
I'm going Texas Tech. I really like what they're doing offensively. I think they got better on defense. I think they're going to be the surprise team of the college football season this year. Much like BYU was last year in the Big 12, I think Texas Tech is going to be the surprise team. I think they're going to surprise everybody in this conference. I think they're going to win it. I think they're going to win the Big 12 this year. So I'm picking Texas Tech.
Well, I was going to make fun of you for picking Texas Tech, but I also have Texas Tech as a pick here. So plus 650, I have Texas Tech. I do have KU, of course, plus 1600. I do believe in Lance and what he's bringing to that squad. So I do want to bring some out there teams, right? That I feel like have a little bit of rebound coming into play. I'm going to bring Houston in to conversation at plus 3,500. I think Houston had a little bit better recruiting, getting back to where they were at one time, and I think they can make a little bit of a case for themselves here. Hopefully, that they see a little rebound, and then finally, the old coach came back home to West Virginia, and that's the dead last one, plus 7,000 West Virginia, but you got a guy that knows the program very well. You also got a guy that has Pat McAfee on your side and will help you recruit, who's also with West Virginia. So plus 7,000, ain't gonna hurt to put a couple bucks on it. I think with West Virginia and Houston kind of being the way down there, the dark horses, as you might call it, I think those two guys could cause a little trouble for the top there. Interesting enough too. BYU at plus 1,600 and Colorado at plus 2,500. I know Colorado is always a conversation there, and we'll see what they will be when that time comes. But, I mean, they're kind of right in the middle of the pack, kind of where I expect them to be in that. So
I will say this. If there's a mid-season team to keep an eye on, Oklahoma State.
Mm-hmm.
Because
right now, 5,500.
If they play a lot better than they did last year, because a lot of their games they lost on either like last-second touchdowns or just couldn't. That was their main problem last year. They couldn't finish games at all. They just could not finish games, and they lost darn near every single conference game they played in because of that. If they fix that up, patch that up, this might be the dark horse team to win the conference, Oklahoma State.
Yep.
Plus, Mike Gundy's been there and done that before, and he knows how to rebuild this team up. So,
yeah,
that's right. That's right. He does. He does.
Mister, I'm a man. I'm probably 50
I'm over
now.
40. Yeah, 50 now. I think so. I think he is. So, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. There's your first round of college football talk here on the Record Sports Hub on Lock It In. Look, this is good future bets here. I like where we stand. I think we got enough to be able to put some get out there, get it on the books, and have a chance here to win some money. So make sure you guys take a look there, check your odds, shop around. So I'm sure you can find some good deals around that. So, but come next weekend, I believe I'm all good. So we'll have once again another fantasy draft. We will open that up to the audience. So be on the lookout there. If you guys want to do a fantasy draft, make sure you hit the reminder there. I'll get it all created later today. And then we'll talk some more college football as well next weekend. So stay tuned. We'll have some fun here. It is leading up to football season here as we get closer. So any final thoughts, guys?
Reds Dodgers parlay today. That's what I put in. Plus 139. Reds Dodgers.
DeGrom failed me, by the way. DeGrom failed me. So he's dead to me now.
Thanks, Alan.
So.
Thanks, Alan. Appreciate you.
Freaking crappy.
Don't blame me. Blame Houston.
Houston, we have a problem.
Houston, we got a problem. We'll catch you guys next weekend. We'll see you.